Yes, who is it?
Excuse me, sir. Pardon me, sir. Excuse me, madam. Oh, excuse me. We seem to be sharing a compartment. No, please don't get up. I'll just sit here and read the paper. Don't mind me at all. It appears the train's quite full. Awful nuisance when you think you've got a compartment to yourself and then they stick a complete stranger in with you at the last minute. Happened to me any number of times. George Abbot.
Claude Boutarel.
French, then, are you? Are you going all the way to Constantinople?
I am travelling to a small town on the Gulf Coast of Persia with my wife and son.
Oh, lovely. Then that must be your family I saw next door.
It is most probable.
By the way, I was wondering, you haven't seen a red cravat anywhere, have you? I was just unpacking and it seems to have disappeared.
I believe my son has taken it.
Really? What was the name of the town you mentioned?
Masjid et Suleiman.
Of course, the new oil refinery they're building at Abbot. I say, you're not working for Anglo-Persian, are you?
Why not?
Oh, well, I suppose you being a Frenchman, I just assume...
I am an engineer, monsieur. The Anglo-Persian company is doing the most innovative research in oil exploration.
Yes. Well, wouldn't want the Royal Navy to be caught short of fuel oil, would we? Tell me, are the reserves in that little town, what's it called again, really as big as they say?
I cannot offer an opinion, monsieur.
No, of course you wouldn't. Quite brave of your wife to go all that way and live in the desert.
She would not wish to be without me. And it will be a good opportunity for François. He has a fine scientific mind.
He seems like a very active little boy. I don't suppose you could ask him for my cravat.
I think now that I remember him using it as a kind of sieve to test salinity in the water. Most remarkable in a boy of 7. Don't you agree?
Quite remarkable.
It is the natural curiosity of the scientific mind, monsieur.
Yes, and all that trapped in the body of a little boy. Oh, excuse me. No, don't get up. I'll just sit right here and read my paper. Seems awfully quiet all of a sudden. I wonder where everyone's got off to.
I believe many passengers are at the concert, monsieur.
Oh, yes, I'd forgotten. Of course, that would explain it. Amazing, really, when you stop to think about it. A concert crossing Europe at 60 miles an hour. Wonderful thing, modern technology. Still, our lot seems to be to sit here and read the paper.
You are welcome to Le Figaro, monsieur. I have read all the articles of interest.
Oh, thank you. Raining again, is it? Beastly weather.
I believe the rain is some distance off, monsieur.
Not for long. Good afternoon.
Monsieur, welcome. Please follow me. We have a nice table for you right here in the corner.
Thank you.
Enjoy your lunch, monsieur.
Yes, monsieur.
The escalope. That's a sort of veal cutlet, isn't it?
L'escalope de veau. Yes, monsieur.
Well, I'll have that. Well done, please.
Very good, monsieur. Here you are, monsieur.
Thank you.
Bon appétit, monsieur.
Good afternoon. Mind if I join you? So dreadfully dull, these long journeys. George Abbot, Nobel Industries, London. I couldn't help noticing your accent as you were talking to the conductor. The Ukraine, perhaps? Your English is impeccable, if I may say so. You must have spent quite some time in England. I live just outside London myself when I'm home. The city's just too active for me. Dangerous, too. I don't suppose you were there last week when that bomb went off. Awful business. Really. Very messy. Bits of bodies strewn about and so on. Did you say you were going on to Odessa? A reason I ask is we happen to be looking for a representative in that part of the world, preferably a bright young fellow with fluent English and Russian, such as yourself. Of course, I realise with your family background you've probably never considered a career in business, and of course there's no question of you doing it for money. But after all, you are a member of the new generation. Be ashamed to bury yourself in the countryside, fiddling with agriculture and so on. Why, with your abilities, you could literally help build the modern Russia. Surely you'll agree that Russia must make connection with modern Europe in order to flourish and develop.
Excuse me.
Oh, must you go already? Oh, well, do think about it. Think I'll just stretch my legs for a bit. Excuse me. Oh, well, my French isn't what it used to be. Never was, really. Perhaps I'll just take a walk up to the smoking car.
Excuse me, I couldn't help wondering, is that Miss Anna Wolfe that was playing the violin just now?
Yes, monsieur. It is our honour to have Miss Wolfe travelling with us.
How delightful. And the private car in the back, that wouldn't be, His Excellency Prince Kronos now, would it?
Yes, monsieur.
How interesting. They say he hardly travels at all in Europe anymore. Just goes to show you. Huh. I understand Count Obolensky was quite ill during the night.
He's much better today, monsieur. Fortunately, we had a doctor on board.
A doctor? Not a Russian doctor?
No, sir, an American. Monsieur Whitney.
How interesting. Is he actually treating the Count, then?
He has given him a sedative, monsieur.
Sedative?
I believe a sort of herbal tea.
Oh, well, I'm sure he knows what he's doing. Still, it does seem a little irregular. Not that we English see anything wrong with a cup of tea. It can do wonders for an upset stomach. Still, one rather expects to see the usual paraphernalia. A doctor's bag instills confidence and so on, given the importance of the patient, I mean. I suppose Mr. Whitney is travelling with quite a bit of luggage?
Monsieur?
Oh, you know, so many Americans do.
I cannot say, monsieur.
Must be the fellow I passed just now in the smoking car. Rather young, isn't he, for a doctor?
I believe he is young, yes.
I must say he didn't look at all like the usual sort of American one expects to see on these trains. You know, flashing money about. Quite the opposite, in fact. Rather unusual for a young fellow like that to book a double compartment, prices being what they are and all that. Wouldn't you say?
I do not know, monsieur.
Well, I suppose he wants his privacy. Nothing wrong with that.
Monsieur, I really must return now.
No, of course, of course. Don't let me keep you.
Thank you, monsieur. Au revoir.
What's this I hear about the police boarding the train last night?
It was most unusual, monsieur. It was a French gendarme. They found the body of a dead man on the tracks near Paris. They think it has been thrown from a train. Naturally, it was a mistake. It has nothing to do with us.
No, of course not. Ridiculous, really, the idea of a murder on the Orient Express. I don't suppose they happened to mention if they'd identified the body.
I believe he was a foreigner, monsieur.
Was he? A foreigner? How interesting.
Excuse me, I couldn't help noticing you're by yourself. Mind if I join you?
Please.
Normally one doesn't go about introducing oneself to complete strangers, but we lone travellers are a sort of fellowship, aren't we? George Abbot, Empire Chemicals.
My name is August Schmidt.
Not the August Schmidt. The rising young industrialist? A.B. Schmidt & Co., munitions, transport, artillery? One of the stars of the new German industry? I must say I'm very pleased to meet you.
You embarrass me, sir. It is true, we do quite a bit of business in England.
Yes, wasn't it your firm that just shipped, I believe it was 40,000 rifles and 1 million cartridges into Ulster?
No, that was not us.
Oh, well, I must be thinking of a different German firm. One of your competitors, perhaps. Whoever it is, they must be feeling rather disappointed. It doesn't look like we're in for a civil war after all. Not this week, anyway.
Oh, these troubles in Ireland. It is unfortunate.
Yes, it's awful. But really, sir, I must congratulate you. The recent industrial growth in Germany, most impressive.
Really?
Oh, yes. Our English businessmen could stand to learn a few things from entrepreneurs like yourself. All this political posturing aside, I really feel we're witnessing the birth of a new Europe, where business is the true international language. And the Orient Express, really quite remarkable if you stop to think about it. Here we are, we've just crossed from Germany into Austria, and not so much as a customs check to let you know we've crossed the border. Now that's the new Europe. Another year or two, and frontiers will be a mere formality, a relic of the past. We'll be able to travel from England to Germany as easily as going from one end of London to the other.
You would not believe sometimes the troubles I have to explain to my people. I need to keep up with what is happening abroad, to act quickly when the opportunity presents.
Oh, I assure you, half the time, Home Office thinks I'm just travelling on a lark. Old-fashioned attitude, of course.
Yeah, still I do find myself sometimes quite tired in the evening. My father had a small factory. He never left his little town. He was perhaps not much of a businessman, but in the end of the day he would sleep in his own bed, and he would be at peace. I sometimes wonder if we have really gained so much.
I couldn't help noticing you with Miss Wolfe at lunch. You made quite a striking pair. May I ask if you've known her long?
Long? Well, you know, I'm a great admirer of her music.
Aren't we all? But you seem to have a special connection with her. Am I wrong? Come on, you can speak freely. We're all gentlemen here.
In that case, I will admit that traveling has its compensations.
Oh, you could trust me, I won't breathe a word. Soul of discretion. By the way, what do you make of this Austro-Hungarian ultimatum? It looks like a rather nasty business.
The note is harsh, but I believe necessary. These Balkan regions have always needed a strong hand to bring stability.
Stability, yes. That's just where we must stand together. Of course, we all have our little differences, but I can't help feeling that at some fundamental level, the goals of England and Germany are not so very far apart.
I'm glad to hear you say it.
But do tell me, I'd be quite fascinated to know, how did you begin your career?
Well, it's really a very simple story.
Well, off I go. Are you getting off in Vienna?
This was my intention, but my plans have changed. I have decided to remain on the train until Budapest.
Ah, taking advantage of an unexpected business opportunity, are we? Act quickly and all that. It wouldn't be the violin business now, by any chance, would it?
This is something that I will discuss over dinner tonight. A special dinner with wine and champagne. It is possible that I will take some music lessons when I'm in Budapest.
Perhaps I'll meet you on the return trip and you can tell me all about it.
Maybe by then I will be able to play for you.
I've most enjoyed our little chat. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Is everything all right, monsieur?
Yes, fine. Thank you.
Bon appétit, monsieur.
Good evening. I saw you in the dining car, but I didn't want to bother you. Did you enjoy your dinner?
Dinner was satisfactory, yes.
Must be delightful to be able to dine with your family every night. That's the worst part about travelling. All those meals alone. The loneliness rather gets to you after a while.
My problem is the opposite one, monsieur.
Oh, yes. Well, I can see that. Really? Interesting.
Look here, we'll be in Budapest in half an hour. My company has a pretty good understanding with the Austro-Hungarian authorities. I think if you let me speak to them first, I can explain what happened here and get this mess cleared up without a lot of fuss. No need to splash it all over the papers. Reputation of the line to think of and all that. There's a good fellow.